Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are here ranking the restricted duos of Regulation I. I did them individually a few days ago. I will leave that tier list at the end. However, this is why I like dual restricted. We get to see many cool pairings. So today we're going to rank these, and obviously very early format. I couldn't actually put every single one on the tier list as well. So if it's not here, just let me know down below in the comments and we can discuss things there. However, I tried to get as many of the ones that I think are going to have some sort of success at some point in this list as possible. So hopefully I didn't miss too many, if any at all. But let's jump right into it. Calyrex Dialga, Calyrex Ice Dialga. I'm immediately putting in allergic to winning, guys. Probably with both versions of the Dialga as well. It just doesn't feel good to me. Dialga, like I said in the other tier list, it's like Dialga every year, every time a restricted format comes around, everybody's like, yo, Dialga, this is the guy. And then it just never works. Now, nobody's calling Dialga the guy, so I can't see it being good. Calyrex is also not going to be the partner for it. This looks like it just auto loses to Zamazenta. Not a thing. Don't do this. It could be good. You could prove me wrong. You might get some cool things about it, and that's one of the things with double restricted. You know, you can get away with some weird pairs and just have fun with, right? Just because I'm putting it in allergic to winning doesn't mean the core may not be fun. Doesn't mean it can't win games, but it does mean that I don't think it's going to really go out there and just win the next regional sort of thing. Groudon Caly-Ice. I feel like it could be decent, but I also don't know what they're covering on each other, right? Like, they're there. And that's about it, right? Like, they both kind of, like, Groudon wants to be that, oh, I'm a ground type, I beat the Zamazenta, and then it just doesn't. They probably both lose to Shadow Rider. It doesn't seem like that type of core that, like, is amazing, but it seems a little better than the Dialga core, so it's going to go up a little bit. Once again, I could maybe see it doing something, so it's going to stay in to prove me wrong core. Caly-Ice Koraidon, I am tempted to put it in decent, just because of, like, I love Koraidon, but, like, at the same time, is it really doing anything, guys? Like, let's be real. Is it really gonna do anything in this format? I don't know. Like, yeah, you have your Caly-Ice to beat like the other Caly-Ice stuff, but, like, that just doesn't seem like it does enough to me. Like, Koraidon doesn't like Lunala, which is going to be picking up in usage. We see that, like, Caly Shadow probably can run over this as well if you don't get the proper speed control. And with Koraidon for Caly Shadow, you want to have Tailwind going. It just doesn't seem like a solid option for me. Like, it just doesn't seem like it really gets to that next level. So it's going to be Improve Me Wrong. I think there might be a shot there, but I don't see it. Caly-Ice Kyogre. I'm going to leave it has potential. I think this is probably one of the better cores in the format, if you can find a way around wide guard. If you can break through the constant wide guard in this metagame, I think there's a very good chance that this is a very strong core. Especially maybe something like a Scarf Kyogre, just to do immediate damage early, and then you just have your Calyrex kind of mode in the back sort of thing. I think there's definitely potential with this core, so I'm going to leave it in here. It's probably one of these two, but I'm going to leave it up here for now. I believe in this guy. I believe in this core. Maybe it's just because it has a Kyogre on it, but I believe in it. Lunala Caly-Ice, I think, has to go kind of in the same area there. There's a lot of these cores that I feel like haven't been explored. This one, on the other hand, seems to be a little bit slower and maybe too slow for the current metagame. Back in Regulation Regulation G, Calyrex could be like, yeah, I'm okay to be outside of Trick Room. In a format like this, it really appreciates being in Trick Room. Now, Lunala does add to that as a secondary Trick Room setter, and it's a very good restricted to get Trick Room up with as well. So that's why I'm leaving it this high up, but I do fear that this core outside of Trick Room is going to have a lot of issues. However, if you can patch that, there's potential there. It might have to drop one, but I'll wait and see what's going on. Calyrex Miraidon, this is going to be a very good core, guys. It is going to take a little bit of time, I think, for players to figure out how to navigate the super fast electric terrain Miraidon mode and pair it well with the Calyrex mode. However, I think there's a lot of potential there. You have the whole, oh, I can Farigiraf Miraidon Volt Switch and Trick Room and then get Calyrex Ice in, right? You do have a lot of potential with this core. It is going to be very good. It hasn't seen insane results just yet, but I do think there's going to be a lot of potential there moving forward with this core, and it's going to get solved as be one of the dominant cores in the format. Caly-Ice Dawn Wings. I would put this in Prove Me Wrong, but I can already tell you there's like 18 hard Trick Room players out there that are like, yo, Caly-I's Dawn Wings, it's going to be so good, it's going to be so good. And so I'm going to leave it in here. It's got less potential, but it's decent. Like I said, those hard Trick Room players, they're going to figure it out. Necrozma Dawn Wings, it's just a wall of stats is all it is. The stats are very, very strong on it. So, like, I can definitely see it doing something. And if the trend of hard Trick Room winning regionals seems to be a thing, then maybe it does win a regional. So I'll leave it in there, but I don't think it's like a versatile team. I think you're gonna get like that one hard Trick Room build, and that's gonna be how this goes. I love how this entire list is just Caly-Ice right now. I probably should have separated these, but who cares? Palkia, I'm leaving with Dialga for now, guys. I might put Palkia up 1 just because of past success with the 2022 season, but I think a lot of that stemmed from the fact that Palkia, could Dynamax, and with that Dynamax, it was able to not miss moves. I don't think it actually sees that usage or sees that viability in this metagame right now, so I am going to leave it and Prove Me Wrong, but I am going to give it the benefit of the doubt. You know, I've seen this core do well in the past. Maybe it could do well again. I don't know. Palkia is interesting, right? Because, like, it does get access to a lot of cool tech moves, which could be very good into other things. So, like, if you can beat Zamazenta with, like, a flamethrower or an earth power, right? There's a little bit of cool techs on that core, so I'll see if that can maybe do something. Caly-Ice Zacian, I don't think this gets anywhere. It's staying in Prove Me Wrong for sure. As much as I'd like to say, you know, Zacian Caly-Ice goes somewhere, it really just doesn't, unfortunately. It's just not the core that I'm expecting to see do well very often in this format. Like, it's just 2 good mons. Surely it might see something, but I don't think it's going to be really a dominant force in the metagame here. Caly-Ice Zamazenta, I'm going to put it here. I don't think it's a pair that I really expect to be, like, used super often, but I also feel if the meta develops interestingly, like, I think you can throw Zamazenta on any team, and you can probably say the same with Caly-Ice as well. You can probably throw these guys on any team if you're willing to work a little bit for them, and they'll both work. So Zamazenta obviously going to be one of the better mons into format. Caly-Ice going to be one of the better mons into format, and I think just off the nature of that both of them are just 2 of the top restricteds, putting them together can't possibly be terrible. I don't think it's like an amazing core, but I don't think putting them together can be bad. It's going to have a shot at doing something. On to Caly Shadow. Caly Shadow Miraidon, it's going to go in has potential. And you're going to see me put a lot of these cores in this has potential category, guys. It's one of those ones where we haven't really solved how to make these cores run fully. So I think there's potential there. When I tested it, it felt really, really decent. It just needed that extra punch that I wasn't able to give the team when I tested it. But I think someone out there is going to be able to figure this out. It's a very solid concept in theory, so I definitely think that team's going to go somewhere. Caly Shadow Groudon, I'm going to go less potential but decent. It is interesting in a sense where, once again, kind of banking on past success and saying, you know what, in the past it's good. So I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. It's also 2 good pieces. I'm a little less sold on the Groudon. Probably belongs at the little bottom part of this tier, so I'm actually going to go ahead and do that now. But I do think there may be something there. There's a chance that maybe Groudon sees an uptick, and if it's going to see an uptick, it's going to want to be paired with, in my opinion, one of these Calyrex. One of these Calyrexes, or Calyrex Shadow in general, or Lunala even. I think Lunala, even Miraidon for Groudon. I think a lot of those cores are very good with Groudon. So I definitely don't hate looking at it that way, but I do think Groudon could have an uptick, and this is one of those cores that should have it on it. Caly Shadow Kyogre, definitely good. This is I'm going to send Hyper Offense specially, and I'm just going to do as much damage as I can kind of core. It does become, I think, a very aggressive core. I don't think you can really balance this core out too well. I think you just kind of got to commit to either offense or defense, or like offense fast, or try to go with like a slower build. But if you go with a slower build, I think you got to go with the other Caly. But either way, once again, very, very weak to Wide Guard, which is why it's not going at the top. And Wide Guard right now is pretty much on every team, or every other team at the very least. But overall, I think the concept of the core is very, very good, right? Caly Shadow doesn't like Incineroar. Kyogre loves seeing Incineroar. They do cover each other's weaknesses pretty well. And at the end of the day, what's really stopping Astral Barrage Water Spout if your opponent doesn't have like a Wide Guard or any other set, like a Sunset or something like that. I think you have a lot of potential here, especially if you put this like Tailwind. I think there's definitely potential there. Miraidon Caly Shadow is going to be one of the best cores in the format. It's just two statted out Pokemon that are incredibly fast and can get supported well. We've seen Miraidon Cores be very well supported in the past, and I think Calyrex fits right onto those style of teams. You're going to see this core be very, very strong. I think it's going to take maybe a couple weeks to actually see like the dominant cores with this concept pull through, but it's definitely going to be a very strong core overall. I think we're just kind of waiting on when that's actually going to be the case. Rayquaza, Calyrex Shadow, it's going up into the has potential but not really great spot that, it's decent. It's going to be interesting, and I think it's really going to depend on how you approach it. But the way I look at this team is it's one of those ones where I get to say, hey, we're going to go do a bunch of early damage with like Rayquaza besides Shenpao and just E-speed a bunch of things, and then boom, Calyrex Shadow is going to close off. If they choose to Terra Ghost to get out of the E-speed, Calyrex Shadow is going to close that off. Or you can go the other way where Calyrex Shadow does a bunch of really, really cool damage up front, and then Rayquaza comes in the end game and just E-speeds everything to close off. So I see the potential there, and I think it's probably one of the only viable Rayquaza cores. I hate to say it, but it may be one of the only viable Rayquaza cores out there right now. So I'd be curious to see if this actually develops, because Rayquaza does a very good job of breaking through a lot of things that just aren't restricted, and then Calyrex Shadow can just break everything. So I think there's definitely an option there, and we'll see. We'll see where it goes. It probably falls off as the format develops and like we get more balanced and more focused teams that are just a little bit better overall, but it's a pretty strong core. Terrapagos Caly Shadow. If I would have done this list 2 days ago, I would have had this thing in like allergic to winning. This is not a good team. But then it decided it had to go and top the ladder. Okay, it had to go and top the showdown ladder. So I have to at least give it enough credit. I don't really want to put it in has potential, but given the fact that it topped the ladder, like I have to give it credit where credit is due. That's not easy to do given how volatile the ladder is right now. So I'm going to leave it at the bottom of has potential. But overall, I don't think it really does a crazy amount. Like I see the synergy. The synergy is definitely there. Calyrex Shadow, obviously very good Pokemon. Less sold on Terrapagos for myself, but I do think the synergy might be there. I just want to hate on Terrapagos, in all honesty, guys. I really just want to hate on Terrapagos. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. But it did top the ladder. I have to give credit where credit is due. Caly Shadow Zacian also going to be up here, probably at the top of that has potential list. You can deal with Incineroar. This core is amazing. If you can find a way to break Incineroar with this core, it's going to be incredible. Obviously, it did win Worlds back, I believe it was 2020. Was it 2022? No, it was 2019. Either way, it won Worlds. Long story short, it was one of those restricted years. I don't fully remember which, but I think it was 2019, right? Anyways, regardless. No, it's 2022. I don't know. Okay, ignore me. Just ignore me. I think it was 2022. Regardless, very good core. Has a lot of potential. I do worry about Incineroars for it, and if you can break that, I think there's a lot of opportunity there. Best core in the format time, though, and that's Calyrex Shadow Zamazenta. It's unbelievably broken. This is going to be the core to beat all format, right? Zamazenta, Calyrex Shadow, both very fast pieces and hit incredibly hard. And then Zamazenta just like doesn't die, right? So, oh, Incineroar hits the board. Oh, the dark types are hitting the board to beat your Caly Shadow. Okay, body press. Oh, you want to tear a ghost out of my body press? Okay, Astral Barrage. The synergy there is just near perfect between the two of them. You also get Wide Guard to protect your Caly Shadow from opposing Caly Shadows. Just by far the best core in the format, guys. And there's already like 4 different directions you can take this team in, and it's still going to be viable. And I'm very curious to see how it develops and if it does remain at the top. I don't think it's going anywhere, but will it be the best of the best the entire way through? The only time will tell. Groudon, Koraidon, guys, this is going to be allergic to winning. Sorry. I mean, you don't need double sun in this format. I think either of these two guys can definitely splash in on a certain concept, but this is not the way to go. It looks fun, but it's not the way to go, trust me. Ho-Oh okay? Why have people been talking about this? I've seen so many people been like, yeah, there's a chance here. I'm going to put it in less potential but decent just because of the amount of talk that I've seen about people going, yeah, this might be cool. But I also feel like it's the beginning of the format. And like I said at the beginning of the format, people say things, especially with Dialga and Ho-Oh, every single time in a restricted format, they're going to be good, and then they're not. I don't have a lot of faith in this core, but I will give it the benefit of the doubt right now, where, you know, you just get to have Koraidon for big damage, and then Ho-Oh gives you Tailwind support, Sacred Fire for potential burns. It is an interesting concept in theory. I just don't think it actually gets the job done next to all these guys. Like, you're going to just pull, like, Miraidon Ice Rider, or, like, you know, Kyogre or Miraidon, and you're going to get absolutely, like, washed, you know? Like, I don't know. There's a chance, there's an opportunity. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt for right now, but I'm not seeing too much in it. Same with Zamazenta Koraidon. I don't think you need double fighting types. I'm going to leave it and prove me wrong. And I think there's a very good chance I am wrong, strictly because Zamazenta is just a very good Pokemon. I said it earlier that, like, you know, the Caly-I Zamazenta, I don't think it's going anywhere, but Zamazenta is the reason that course somewhat has potential. Same here. It's like, I don't think these two Pokemon really gel together, but at the end of the day, you have a Zamazenta and a very broken bike if you use it properly, right? So I think there's an opportunity here. I don't really think it's going anywhere right now, but you can prove me wrong. We'll see. It does have decent Pokemon on it. Kyogre, Groudon, guys, this thing's going to be allergic to winning. It's trying to be the dual primals team, but neither of these Pokemon have their primal form available. It's just going to not be good. You have inaccurate moves left and right on this team, and they're both super important moves that you're going to need to hit at some point. It's just not the core right now. I think if they had their primal forms, one, the entire format would be very different, and two, you know, this core in general would probably move up to one tier, right? But, like, also Primal Groudon Miraidon would be broken. Anyways, Rayquaza Kyogre, once again, I don't see it being good, so I'm going to leave it down here in allergic to winning. I think in theory it's, like, kind of cool. It's like, oh yeah, they can't turn off my weather, but I don't think weather wars are as viable or as important anymore as when Reorder won Worlds, right? Like, it did win Worlds, but it won Worlds with its primal forms. And I think that changes a lot on how this team functions. I just don't think it really gets anywhere in this metagame. I'm going to leave it down here. Kyogre Zamazenta definitely has potential. I'll reorder these top two tiers afterwards, guys. But Kyogre Zamazenta 100% has potential. I think there's a lot going on here. Once again, it's similar to like a Kyogre Zacian Core that we haven't talked about yet. But it's basically going to be big water type, big steel type, very good pieces together. I do worry a little bit about, like, opposing Caly's Shadow. Looks like it could potentially run through that team. Miraidon, if they get the calls right, can potentially run through this team. So it's a little less than, like, will be very good, but anytime you get, like, Kyogre plus a very good steel type, in general, it's going to be pretty good. So I'm intrigued to see where that ends up taking it. Lunala Eternatus, it's going to prove me wrong, guys. It's just not that core. I have a lot of belief in Lunala. I have maybe a little bit of belief in Eternatus, but it's just not together. I don't see it. Together, it doesn't happen. Lunala, Groudon, it's going in has potential. Sorry, less potential, but decent. And once again, I don't think it's, like, amazing in the format right now. I really, truly don't. But, however, I do think Lunala on its own and Groudon on Splash teams could be good. So, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. Once again, very strong combo historically. And I think because of that, it's something that I definitely want to keep an eye on, right? Like, you can do things with this. And that's all I'm really going to... That's where I'm going to leave it at. I do worry about, like, the Caly Shadow just kind of running it over. But, I mean, Groudon, Lunala, maybe a Scarf TU or something like that actually looks like it has potential. Right, so I'm going to give it here. I don't think it's like, oh my goodness, this is one of the top cores in the format, but I think there's a chance for it. Lunala Koraidon, I'm going to leave at the top. I think it is a overall pretty cool core, especially moving forward, and I think it's going to play to the fact of those balanced Koraidon players. you know those Koraidon players at the beginning of the format that are like, yeah, we get that really, really bulky, clear amulet Koraidon, right? I think that's where this core plays to. I think, like, the Koraidon Caly Shadow Core plays to the more aggressive Koraidon players. You know, this is, I'm going to send my sun damage, and I'm just going to go absolutely crazy with damage and send it. And then the Lunala Core is that sort of more balancy approach to Koraidon. Like, and I look at this core and I'm like, you know, Incin, Rillaboom, Koraidon, Lunala. That's what I see when I see this core, you know, that more balanced approach to the game. And I think there's a lot of potential for it. My only concern with this core is its ability to actually keep up with some of the more aggressive cores in the format, especially if you do try to make it balancy. However, maybe you can get like a Trick Room mode and then all of a sudden this is becoming a viable Trick Room team, right? So it's really interesting to see how you want to approach this. But I don't know, Trick Room's weird because Koraidon is also a fast piece, right? So it's interesting. But I do think it plays well with the more balancy Koraidon players. So I'll give it the benefit of the doubt for now. I think it has potential. It's so early into format, guys. I'm probably going to be wrong on a lot of this. Lunala Kyogre, once again, I want to give these, I really want to put this up here. I really want to put this up here. I unfortunately think it does belong a tier lower. I just feel like there's not enough offense on this team right now to really take it to that next level. It's very cool, but I don't think it actually belongs at that next level just yet. I think there's a chance for it to maybe get up there as the format develops, as like anti-meta counter pick sort of thing. But as a whole, I do think right now it belongs down here. There's a chance for it to do well, but not quite as well as some of the other things are going to be doing throughout the format. Lunala Terapagos, once again, I would have wrote this thing off. This thing was terrible. But I saw it at like 1500 on the showdown ladder today, or just below 1500 on the showdown ladder. So once again, I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt that once again I see the synergy. It's like the Caly Shadow Terapagos one, where I see the synergy. I see what's going on here, and I can maybe see it working. So I'll give it a chance, the benefit of the doubt. I don't think it does enough. Like, I think if you're going to do Ghost type plus Terapagos, I think the only one like I'm really happy about using would probably be the Caly Shadow version of it. Just because, like, even if you get through, like, they can still just launch the fighting type attack from the Urshifu before your Lunala attacks. Here, your Caly Shadow actually pressures the Urshifu to just basically switch off the board and not be there. So I think because of that, I don't hate the Caly Shadow version, but the Lunala version I'm a lot less sold on here. Lunala Zacian, it's going to go here. I think it is very good. This is a core I've wanted to have be successful in formats since I was able to put the two of them together, which is the beginning of Sword and Shield, right? In theory, it really wants to be decent. My concern with this team comes strictly off the fact, one, Incineroar, and two, you don't really get a broken spread move. A lot of these cores that I'm putting up at the top, broken spread move. I think actually every single one of them in the top two tiers has a broken spread move, right? Let me just do a quick check. Yes. In fact, every single one except Lunala Koraidon has a broken spread move. And I think with Zacian, because of the nerf to it, I do think it requires that broken spread move on the team. Yes, you can go maybe, I don't know, Specs, Terra, Fairy, Dazzling Gleam, Lunala if you really wanted a spread move. I don't think you want that though. But you could, in theory, do that. I think there is potential here if you can break Incineroar and be okay realizing that you're never going to be able to hit both targets at the same time. If you're okay with that, sure, send it. Maybe, you know, you throw the Regidrago on this core. I don't know. I'm sure there's a way to get around the fact that you don't have a spread move. And there's definitely ways to get around Incin. Maybe you go Meteor Beam Lunala, Terra Water Lunala also just doesn't really care too much about Incin. So there's definitely ways around the Incin and ways around the, you know, not having a spread move. But I don't think as of right now in the current metagame, this is going to be one of the best teams in the format. But it definitely has a shot later on in the format as things develop. Lunala Zamazenta, I think, is just a watered down version of Caly Shadow Zamazenta. It's still going to be good, don't get me wrong. Maybe for the more balancy approach to this kind of build, it'll be around. But outside of that, I think it's just a watered down version of Caly Shadow Zamazenta. So we're going to leave it, has potential, because it's going to be decent, right? I just think it's going to be worse than this one, but it's going to be decent. Like, once again, same type coverage as the one that's broken, so it'll be very good still. Double bikes. I'm going to go here, guys. It's just going to basically be, I think it's going to end up being a matchup check as the format develops. It's going to be one of those ones where, yeah, I can do a lot of damage. And if I can do a lot of damage into these, let's just say, top 4 teams or whatever, it's going to make their life very, very difficult, and it's going to see usage. Whereas if all of a sudden the top 4 teams are developed well enough where this does a lot of damage, but it doesn't really break the top 4 teams, it's probably not seeing damage. There's a chance for it to break through, and the damage output that it has is incredible if the meta allows for it, but I just don't see it right now. Miraidon Groudon, I actually have faith in. I actually do have faith in Miraidon Groudon, guys. It's one of those teams that's like kind of cool, right? I think it does miss a little bit of coverage because, you know, Groudon loves breaking through Zacians, but it's just a little bit too slow for my liking. I don't think it's like the best team in the format, but I do think there's an opening there because Miraidon is just so good, and Groudon does kind of patch that Zacian style that would normally give Miraidon trouble. You could also technically maybe get away with like an Iron Defense Terra Fire Groudon, and then all of a sudden maybe you're beating the Caly-Ice variants as well. Because like the Caly-Ice variants have to be scared of the Miraidon destroying them. And while the Miraidon is about to destroy them, the Groudon can maybe get set up with like a bulk up and get the boost up that way. And then all of a sudden become a problem moving forward. So that's an option there. I don't think it's like the best team in the format, but it definitely has a lot of potential, I think. I'm curious to see where that goes. I'm also worried it might fall off a little bit. Miraidon Kyogre. This core is carried by Miraidon, by the way. But I also think it's very good. I think you can go ahead and go like Tornadus Kyogre Miraidon has a ton of potential in this format because basically neither of these guys like the grass types. Neither of them like the Rillaboom. But all of a sudden you pair this with like, I don't know, a Tornadus and like, let's just say a Fire Pond. Okay, Fire Pond's a bad call because, you know, obviously you don't want to have a fire type and a water type. But like you could technically do it. Overall though, really, really cool concept. I think there's a lot of potential here. Once again, just damage really, really fast. If you want to bring in a ground type to stop my Miraidon, you're eating a water spell. I'm sorry. So a lot of options there, I think. Same with same with Miraidon Lunala. Similar to the Caly Shadow Lunala core, right? I think this is just a more kind of balanced approach. The way I see this is like you take the Erubega 6, which is like the Farigiraf Iron Hands variant. You drop the Giraffe and you add the Lunala onto that core. That's the way I see this core being played, at least right now. I think Electric Seed on the Lunala actually makes a lot of sense as well. There's some cool options for this concept to actually break through, especially because you can just Terra this, not really care too much about the Caly Shadow and pressure it back. And then all of a sudden, Miraidon's kind of free. So I think there's a lot of openings for this team to do well. Similar to the Caly Shadow Miraidon, this one just plays, I think, a little bit slower. But overall, still a pretty strong core. Miraidon Palkia, guys. You guys are going to have to prove me wrong on this one. I'm not going to put it any lower because it's Miraidon. And with Miraidon, you can just win. You know? With Miraidon, you can win at any point in time. And I don't think it necessarily matters what you pair with it. If you wanted to run Miraidon base form Calyrex, you're probably going to be able to still get a couple wins strictly off Miraidon being good. Right? So I think because of that, it's going to stay in the prove me wrong core. It's not going to be allergic to winning. It'll find ways to win games. But as a whole, I don't think it's going to be a very good concept at all. Miraidon's inaccurate. Sorry. Palkia is inaccurate at best, and I don't think Malkia... okay. This is the tongue twister I didn't know existed, guys. This is the tongue twister I didn't know existed. Maybe it's because I've been talking for 30 minutes. Anyways, Palkia, way too inconsistent for my liking, and I don't think Miraidon actually allows that to salvage that core enough. But it's still, it's there. It's a Miraidon. It'll be decent. Zacian Miraidon, I think, is going to be one of the best ways for Miraidon to actually deal with opposing Miraidon. So it's going to go and has potential. I think there's a lot to be said about this core needing to get a little bit more work for it. However, it is a core I'm very interested in testing. I also never really use Miraidon. I don't know why. I should probably start using Miraidon a little bit more. Look at how many Miraidons are up here. Anyways, good Pokemon. Who would have thought? Anyways, I think this core needs a little bit of testing, right? Zacian doesn't like Incin, but Miraidon loves just breaking through Incin stuff. Zacian breaks the Caly-Ice, which Miraidon can struggle with, so having two ways to like kind of blow up Caly-Ice is very nice. This is Swordfish, my beloved. I am giving Swordfish the benefit of the doubt. People are saying it's not going to be as good anymore, and I kind of do agree with that. But keep in mind, Swordfish was absolutely dominant in previous formats. So it may not be as good, but I still think it's going to be a very strong option, especially the more aggressive variants, right? Because Zacian hits hard, Kyogre hits hard, you get Tailwind onto thing. Normally you're going to see like Tornadus, and then you're going to see like, I don't know, either Incin, Rillaboom, Incin, Amoonguss +1, maybe Urshifu. And I think just the synergy between these two restricteds is very, very strong. And everything that's not a restricted is going to have a tough time breaking it. And then everything that is a restricted still doesn't like the combination of it. You know, Kyogre doesn't like seeing Miraidon. Zacian loves Miraidon. Caly Shadow, I mean, Kyogre can take those hits and dish back. And then Zacian actually hits Caly Shadow fairly hard. You just got to not lose your positioning there. So I believe in this. It's a little bit, it's definitely a couple tiers below these guys. So like there's definitely a space between them. But they're definitely up there, in my opinion. I might even... Like, I don't know, I can't, this is why I don't like tier lists, because I can't demonstrate how much space is actually between things within the tier. I think that would be actually a cool way to do that, is to like make a new tier list platform where you can dedicate like different amounts of space between things within the tier. That's a good idea. I'm gonna go work on that. Anyways, Dawnwing's Terapagos, guys, it's allergic to winning. And it's strictly allergic to winning just because I hate both of them. Once again, like I said, it's got the Ghost Psychic type next to the Terapagos. I put it up here with the Caly Shadow. I put it somewhere a little lower with the Lunala. And I think Dawnwings just makes it even worse. So it's going down here, guys. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cute. But I don't know. I don't think it's very good. I don't believe in Terapagos. But Terapagos, Zacian, I think there might be something there. Because you get to one turn off Weather, which is very helpful when you play a Zacian. And if you run, I think, the Specs variant onto Terapagos, you do just a lot of damage on this core, especially up front. With like, you can do a Specs Terapagos, big damage up front, and then close off with Zacian. And I think that's a very good adaptation for the Zacian stuff. So I'm curious to see if that maybe holds up. But I don't think it actually does crazy amounts of damage very, very, very often. These next two cores, guys, I don't think are very good at all. It's Groudon, Zamazenta, and Zamazenta Terapagos. I don't think they get anywhere. Right? Like, they're cool. Like, Zamazenta's a good Pokemon, but they're not covering each other's weaknesses very well at all, in my opinion. They just don't do enough, right? Zamazenta doesn't like, you know, the fire types, but instead of beating the fire types, okay, yes, I beat them, but I've just given them stun. Like, that doesn't sound good to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not thinking about this in the right direction. I do see the synergy here where it's like, oh, we can, you know, Groudon doesn't like Caly-Ice, but now you get Zamazenta Groudon. So, like, I kind of see the concept, but, like, I think this core is going to end up being pretty allergic to winning in the long run. And then this core over here, I really don't even know what the concept of this core is. It's there. It's definitely two Pokemon I'm allowed to run on the same team, and I think that's the extent of it for me. Yeah, that's it. Okay, I'm going to try to reorder these top tiers now. So just to make this the best of the best. Okay, I think my top tier is actually correct. Once again, this is the best team in the format. These two, I think it's really going to depend on how the development goes to see which one surpasses the other. But I think both are very good concepts. And then there's a massive gap. And this guy should be all the way over here. I don't know how to illustrate that, but there's a massive gap. This guy should be over here. In fact, technically, this guy you could say is here, and I think it's more likely to illustrate that just when someone takes a screenshot of this, that I don't think this is on the same level as these guys, but it definitely is going to be very good. I don't have enough tiers to say that. Unfortunately, I don't. The next tier I think is up here. These two are pretty close to that. Both these Zacian Cores I think are just right there on the cusp of being that next tier. They're both very, very good. So I think both of those two are there. I think Miraidon Zacian also wants to jump up here and extend. This tier, by the way, is going to be incredibly difficult to order. I'm going to try and order it to the best, but this is going to come down to the bottom. This is going to come down to the bottom. Just because I don't see a lot of potential. Like, this one loses to Wide Guard. And yeah, this one topped the ladder, but I don't see it. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't see it. Lunala Miraidon I do like. Groudon Miraidon definitely goes below those guys, though. Kyogre Zamazenta definitely sneaks its way up here, probably above Miraidon Ogre. These guys are here. They're a little more offensive. This definitely drops off probably to here. Calyrex Lunala is great for the hard Trick Room guys, but I think outside of the hard Trick Room guys, it doesn't see much. This has to slip forward, I think. In fact, I think it's above. I think it's here. It's actually probably here, right? Something like that. I think this looks okay. Long story short, guys, I know everybody that just like skipped ahead for the timestamp with the final tier list, because I know people do that, and I'm not gonna deny that, right? But basically, long story short, I think anything in the third tier and up needs to be seriously tested and considered, because I could just be wrong. We're 5 days into the format, and technically it hasn't even officially started yet. So there's still tons of time for this to develop. And yes, I might be a little bit harsh on these guys now, but I think there might be potential. If you're in one of these cores or up, you're definitely okay to just go ahead and start testing and see if you like it a little bit more than I do, of course. The prove me wrong tier, I mean, you can go ahead and try. I am very confident that we're not going to see too much coming out of the prove me wrong core. However, maybe I'm just, once again, maybe I'm wrong. Prove me wrong. I wouldn't waste too much time. Like, if you're working on it and things don't feel right, I'm going to go ahead and say things aren't feeling right for a reason. Whereas with something up here, things might not feel right, but it might just be, maybe it's the rest of your team. Maybe you haven't really picked up on how to utilize the core to its full potential yet. But down here, I think if anything here and below is if it's not feeling correct and something feels off, that's just because I don't think the core itself is very good. That's kind of the way I break this down. But once again, anything third tier and up, guys, I mean, it's definitely worth giving a test. Like, why do I have Groudon Caly Shadow, a historically amazing core, down this low? Just because of just the way the tier list system works, guys. Either way, anything down here and up should be definitely tested if you're thinking of considering it for any sort of event. Otherwise, everything else is pretty much just YouTube content. I'm going to be honest, guys. You're going to see me have this core, and I'm going to be like, this core makes mathematically 0 sense, but I used it anyways. And that's going to be the title of my video. It's going to be Zamazenta Terrapagos. It just makes no sense whatsoever. But you know what? I'm probably going to run it at some point for a YouTube video. It'll be fun. But anyways, like I said, guys, that's going to be it. I think I'm rambling at this point. My thoughts, if you are curious in any of the placements that, you skipped, I went over most of my thoughts pretty extensively, I thought, throughout the entirety of the tier list. So if you're looking for that, feel free to look back at when that happened. But with that, if you guys do enjoy this type of content, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel, and of course, I really do appreciate it. And if I did miss any cool pairs that you think are very viable, please let me know down below. I'm super happy to talk about them. I couldn't think of everything, guys. It looked good. I found a tier list and it looked good, and I was like, yeah, this looks like it has 90% of the cores that I'd want to talk about. So if I missed one and it's like your favorite core, let me know down below. I can give you a ranking for it. But with that, guys, I'm going to get on out of here. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you all in a future video.